the 25 different organizations and niches that you've worked or industries that you've worked in, have you ever worked with somebody like me? And I would know your answer would be, oh yeah, we've worked with coaches and speakers and built masterminds and built events. Like I would say, okay, 10 plus years experience and you've worked with coaches and speakers and worked in masterminds. Yes, I could partner with somebody like Ashley.
Once you are in the zone, you know your burn. Find the people that are going to support you in the areas that aren't your favorite, that don't excite you, that can get you to your goals and your dreams.
Welcome back to another episode of The Burn. I am Ben Newman, and you know how we do this every single week. We're going to bring you a story of an athlete, an entertainer, a celebrity, an entrepreneur, somebody from the business world who helps us understand that why and purpose is not enough. It's that underlying burn that ignites your why and purpose and causes you to show up on the days you don't feel like it, and especially after you win. Today, we have a special guest, Ashley Smith. I'm going to give a nice introduction here because she deserves it. We had the opportunity to meet through Monique Saar, who is a critical member of our team. Many of you probably know Monique if you've been through our Coach to Coaches program. If you do anything with our organization, attending events, Monique and I have known each other for 15 years, and her and Ashley have done some very strategic things in the business world through where Ashley specializes, which is really on the social media side and the digital marketing side. And one of the things that I've always loved about Ashley, and she did come to St. Louis for an event, so we got to spend time together in person, which was fantastic, with a small group really diving behind the scenes, and I got to learn about her and her business, so I'm excited for you to learn from her. But we have a similar belief. And that's, my story is very universal. My story of my mom, you'll see me working in football, and then I'll be working with a construction company, and then it's Google. And Ashley has also believed in her work that you don't necessarily have to niche down, which is very different. And so what you'll find through our conversation today, she's worked in 25 plus different industries on the social media side, on the branding side, on the marketing side. And one of the things we're going to specifically talk about today, so I want you to lean in with us, is one of the most common, major, and fastest paced changes in the world today, and that is AI. So Ashley Smith, the founder of Social Jargon, welcome to The Burn.
Thank you so much, Ben. That was amazing. I need you to be my permanent hype guy.
your work is amazing, and I know you and Monique have built such a great relationship to where I was so excited to meet you when you came to St. Louis, and we had the opportunity to spend those couple days together. Tell us a little bit about where your burn comes from and your passion, and why you took the risk and the courage to become an entrepreneur and to start your own business.
Yeah, so it really came out of a necessity, or maybe even preference. So personally, what was happening is I had graduated college. I owned a home. I had, those big kid adult responsibilities that I signed up for. But I was also the non-custodial parent for my daughter, and things aren't always great when you have to co-parent with an ex. And so unfortunately it wasn't a very open communicative relationship. And so I found myself needing to meet these financial obligations, but also wanting to be that present parent. And I think that's really relatable even in families that don't have that dynamic. You want to be present, you want to be there for your kids, you want to show up for the doctor's appointments and the recitals and the games. And I realized I couldn't do that with a 9-to-5. And so I bootstrapped it. I think this is a common tale in my industry, but I bootstrapped it. I had my internet connection, a cell phone, and a laptop. And I had been doing social media for 2 years at that point. I had connections, I had networked, and I was like, hey, who wants me to do this for them? you know? And so that's really where it came out of, was a necessity for wanting that kind of life. Which is, it can be scary to take that plunge. And so my burn and my why has always been my daughter,
Mm.
and being able to be there and being the kind of mother that I wanted to be, and as best as you can, given the circumstances and things like that. And so that's really where it started. And actually, Ben, where when you and I met, when I came to St. Louis, and that was the weekend I needed that, because I had done exactly what you tell us not to, which is I had fallen to the seduction of success, and I started to get bored. I started to get uninterested, borderline or maybe even full on depression, because I wasn't feeling fulfillment anymore. Um, because I started my business in freelancing in at the end of 2013, beginning of 2014. And so that was, at that point, flash forward, it's 8 years later. I have a wonderful second marriage, beautiful stepdaughters, along with my kiddo. We're all living in the same place. Everything's great. The business is doing wonderfully. And it just felt like there was something wrong or something off.
Mm.
And I really, really appreciate Monique for making the connection and pushing me to join you and the others during that weekend, because what you took us through, I don't know if I've ever been able to fully express how much I needed that.
Mm.
And one of the realizations that I came from was, it's still my daughter. Now it's just different. It's less about survival and it's more about thriving and being able to set an example and transition into the legacy that you talk about so much, and figuring out what that looks like for the kids and other people in our world. And I walked away with realizing that it's okay for the why to change. And I just love the phrase that you use with the burn, because I feel like it's so much more powerful than what other coaches and consultants talk about, which is, well, what's your why? Why are you doing this? And most people are like, well, because I need to make money, because I want to be wealthy, all of that. The burn method and mentality just takes it to another level. It takes it deeper. And that's why I think that it's been so effective. I still use it
Mm.
to this.
I love hearing that. One of the things I pull from how you are expressing how you used it is where a lot of people who oftentimes struggle, I don't know what my burn is, but they want to take that leap of faith. They want to have that courage. They want to have that freedom. They want to do, as an entrepreneur, things on their own terms. You created a have to, right? So it was an environment where we may say that, why and purpose is one thing, but the burn was, I have to do this for my daughter. And when you create a have to, there's no turning back. The decisions and choices become non-negotiable. And so I would encourage some of you that are listening to, maybe you are holding back, you haven't given yourself permission to attack something yet. You may find that stepping into that environment, stepping into that uncomfort, creating that have to, actually elevates you to a place you've never been before, to where it simply said, and once again, you just have to do it. Like, if your daughter's livelihood is riding on it, you just have to do it. And so I think that's really powerful. And I appreciate the honesty of, because of success and doing a great job and having a business for a long time. You've been doing this for well over 10 years. A lot of people, they want to get to that 10-year mark. Heck, they want to get to the 5-year mark. Most new businesses don't make it to the 1-year mark. And so I can appreciate you being honest, saying, yeah, I had that seduction of success and that the timing was right. Now you've reconnected is really powerful. Let me ask you the question about, the niche, because, we really do hear so much, and you work with speakers and you work with coaches and solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, and it really is amazing through 25 plus industries. Why did you choose to not have a specific niche? Like, I knew for me, I'm like, well, my mom's story is so broad, it could touch anybody. So I just leaned in, and whatever business is there, we're going to beat down the door of opportunity and serve and inspire. What was it for you? Why did you choose to not just have one niche?
Yeah. Honestly, initially it was out of fun. I have been in the internet world since I was a kid. I was a teenager, building websites for fun. In my dad set me up with an email, and in 1998, I made a fan site for the Spice Girls, and I was just having fun. Um, and I had my first big marketing job was for a convention and visitors bureau overseeing their digital marketing efforts, primarily social media. And the further you along you get in your craft or into a certain skill set and you find your groove, the deeper you can go into that particular topic. And I just started seeing how all of these different pieces working together. And when there's a synchrony between, your Facebook and your Instagram and your LinkedIn, plus your email and your print marketing and your networking efforts, and there's all of these things moving in the same direction, there's that synchrony there, you can actually see some momentum. And that comes from realizing, there's certain foundational elements to marketing, advertising, and sales that go back to I feel like it just goes back to the basics, you know and yes, there's technical skills, but those are teachable, right? But that's really where I look at it, is there's foundational elements and requirements that do broaden across all industries, all business models. It all is driven by the goal at the end of the day. Where do you want to go? How are you going to achieve it? What's the intent of why you're doing it? And there might be little nuances in each different industry or each platform or software program that you're using, but you work in as many as I have, and you realize that the buttons have just moved and it's in a different spot. It's the same function, it's the same outcome. It's just moved over a little bit, and that's where I see it as what can work in one industry can work in another. And it's a great way to learn. Hey, this, medical center is doing this in their marketing and they're struggling here, but I have a retail client that's thriving very well and using this tactic in this model. Can that be implemented for the medical center?
Mm.
Things like that. And it's a great way to kind of cross pollinate that information.
Let's dive right into technology, AI.
Yeah.
We recently started a project in AI. Our team uses it in so many different ways, but one one of the things that blew me away. We have a dear friend of ours that I do a lot of work with. She spoke at our Puerto Rico boot camp, Corral Mugayas, who's the #1 Latina influencer in the world. She's amazing. And we were on a coaching call together, and she said, you really need to take your coach to coaches program and you need to translate it into Spanish. And you and I are going to do an event together in Miami next year. And we're going to help impact the Latin American community because we need the information that you're teaching in coach to coaches. And essentially the program you came to in St. Louis over 2 days, we now teach over 8 weeks in coach to coaches. So I go to our team and I'm like, is this even possible? Like, could you do a voiceover in AI? And, Monique dives in and her team does the translation on the website. And like a few days later, Ashley, I literally have a sample video of me speaking Spanish. I mean, I haven't spoken Spanish since high school, so it wasn't me. And I was like, this is absolutely amazing. It almost had the sound of my voice. Like if I were to speak fluent Spanish, it actually had the tone and sound of my voice in Spanish. And so I think a lot of people, and here's where I'd like to go with this, they're so scared to dive into AI, right? They know they need to, but they're scared because it's the fast evolution, it's the constant movement. What is it like to partner with somebody like you who has that expertise, who understands it, so you can take away the fear, the doubt, and uncertainty and rely on not only your experience of 10 plus years in the market, but you staying ahead of technology? Because I think that's the key. you have to partner with somebody who understands it, who's the expert. So what are you seeing with AI? Because I'm fascinated by it. And I think some people try to learn it, but it's moving so fast you can't learn it. I think we have to rely on experts like you. So I'd love to just hear your thoughts on AI and business development today.
Yeah. I think it's really exciting. And it was, initially I was very resistant. Probably a lot of the same feelings and thoughts that people have now, being like, I don't know about this. It can't be that great. It can't be, what is this going to do? There's security questions. There's all of these different elements to it. And I think the biggest one, especially in my space and in the creator space, was it's going to take our jobs.
Mm.
And one of the key things that I have to say to people, which I think this might support, my attitude might support your mission. You'll probably say it a little kinder, but I'm just kind of like, then be better. Then be better, because you can be better. You can, don't worry about that. But the moves and things that are happening with AI and the approach of it is use it as a tool. The same way that we use the internet when it launched, and email and social media and anything else, use it as a tool. Use it to help you become better, become faster, become more creative, be able to do and accomplish more that could have or would have taken you hours or days or weeks or months or years to put together. And you can build these AI models and have something within moments that is still you, but it's like a little bit of tweaks here and a little tweaks there to help just take it and elevate it and say the things that our minds were trying to get out of our mouths, and it just didn't happen yet. So I would encourage people to kind of take that perspective in it and to lean in a little bit. And if this is my full-time gig, like I love it. That's why I do it. And other people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. So to save people's eyes from glazing over, to work with me, what I explain is like, I can be as transparent as you want and as nerdy as you want and tell you what's happening. But I really try to work with analogies that people can relate to, everyday circumstances and things like that to help explain what's going on in the technology world. I have a mentor right now, and we're leaning together really into the AI space to help create offers, help create full-fledged programs, and helping people with their content. I think that is honestly with AI, I think that's at a very, very high level of this. And for coaches and authors and speakers, is it's great to be able to give someone, or I guess in this example, AI, your opinions, your thoughts, your ideas, all of this, and then literally come back to it and ask it a question, and it spits out an answer for you. And it's done. It's done, in school when you had your first rough draft and then your second rough draft, and then it jumps you down to that final draft that you can polish up and tweak and make sure that it still sounds like you. And it's getting better. It's learning those things. And I'm just really excited in exactly what it's going to do in the creator space, and everything that it's going to empower people and to do more, because it all comes down to time, and we only have so much of it.
One of the things I think about is, if you think back to when social media really became popular, right? There were people who resisted social media, almost like, I don't know about social media. I don't know about social media. Heck, I remember that for me when I first got into sales, like in the early 2000s out of college. And, it was one of those things I almost resisted wanting to use email. I mean, that's how like much of a dinosaur I was. Let me dial the phone and get after it. Then you realize like, okay, I can't really exist without using email. I can't really exist without text messaging. I can't exist without social media. Do you believe that people are going to have to, it'll be similar to social media, similar to email, similar to having websites, to where it's going to become impossible to not coexist, whether it's partnering with you or implementing it yourself? I always recommend going back to the experts again. But do you believe that it'll be impossible to not coexist with AI being part of your business strategy in some way?
Yes. And the reason why is because how many people listening, and yourself included, Ben, would give up Google? Just like realistically, they own 95% of the
Well,
search.
Google is a client, so number one, I don't want to give them up because we have the
Okay.
opportunity to work
Well,
for them.
I
But
love
seriously,
Google.
yeah, I love Google. I mean, that's my search engine. I use an
Yeah.
Android phone, which I get teased about all the time. So
Mhm.
I'm totally a Google guy.
Yeah, I have all their I love Google. I've had every Pixel phone. I got the Pixel 9 Pro Fold XL, whatever it's called right now, with the Gemini features and all of that. It's I love Google. Um, but yeah, for a normal business owner, even a normal consumer, you don't even have to own a business. You're not, with 95% market share of, you're not going to other search engines. Most people aren't. They're just not. And because of big name players like that investing and leaning into AI as much as it is, we're not going to be able to get away with it. And again, technology nerd. It's even as simple as how annoying and frustrating those chat supports are on websites. That was the
Sure.
beginning of
Yeah.
AI. Yeah, that was the beginning of AI, and it's just
Wow.
improving and getting better. And now it's just more people are aware of it and going, "Oh, that's AI. Oh, that's AI." It's like, yeah. And I think it's going to be imperative. These are, I guess again, my best estimates. I can't tell the future. I don't have an in with Google as much as I would love to. Um, but even with, there's discussion about Google search changing and shifting into Google Answers, or a lot of people have
Mm.
seen this. They'll type in something and then you'll get an AI generated result up at the top with reference links, which I think is phenomenal. That was great. So people can see where this information is coming from. And just from a visibility standpoint on the internet, I don't think that we're going to be able to get away with it at all.
Final question, because I think it's a really important thing, and I want your perspective here. I think the individuals who will excel and grow the most, once again, my opinion here, I believe you have to leverage to the experts like yourself to help you navigate and figure out the best way to use AI. I wouldn't have enough time to do the appropriate amount of research, right? I mean, I'm busy doing other things. But I also encourage everybody, and I think this is important, that if you can have an expert like Ashley and you can have an expert like me, let's say working together doing something for you. One of the things I've always believed is you do have to, no matter how fast technology changes, do the personal things that you always did. And I always encourage people when they come through Coach to Coaches, I do this all the time. If I'm interested in Ashley coming to our St. Louis Summit on April the 12th, Ashley's going to either get a voice note from me or a video from me on Instagram or via text message saying, Ashley, would love for you to come back to St. Louis. We have an event on April 12th. I'm thinking about you. I think we do still have the unique businesses that are going to grow at the highest level. I think are the ones who are going to be able to maintain personal touch with AI. And I think it's a combination of the both. Because otherwise, I teach people all the time as I share, like, if you're just sending a bunch of messages over Instagram, somebody doesn't even think it's you. They think it's somebody on your team. They think it's AI. So personal touch plus advancement in technology, how important is that as a factor for being unique in the marketplace?
My opinion, completely essential, because you're going to stand out that way. I mean, you stand out right now if you handwrite a thank you card and mail it to someone versus sending them a, hey, got it, thanks, text message. It's that personal touch. And that's the part, the mindful automation and mindful AI implementation is what's going to be key, I think, for people to stand out and for people to excel. Automate and use AI where it makes sense, and be a human and connect with other individuals, where it's going to be the most rewarding and most fulfilling, not just on a, personally. It's weird. It's kind of weird to talk about it as a strategy. But it's one of those where, I mean, think about yourself. When was the last time somebody, just went out of their way and texted you randomly, or even called you on the phone and said, "Hey, I know you're busy, but I was thinking about you."
It doesn't happen. And quite frankly, like you said, a handwritten note, most people don't even know that mail exists anymore. Right. I mean, they're just like, a handwritten note. Like, how do you even do that? I mean, a lot of people, they don't get it. I mean, in fact, in schools today, a lot of kids, they never even know how to have a signature, because they don't even know how to write in cursive. So it's like, block letters becomes a signature. It's like, how do you sign a check? How do you open up a bank account? I mean, these
What's
are
a
things
check,
that,
Ben?
right? That's true. We do online bill pay. It did take me a while to get
Yeah.
there, but I do have
Yeah.
to coexist with online bill pay now. But I love this part of the conversation, because I think it's so important that we do have to remain human while we advance with technology. And that's why I think it's so critical that you find individuals like yourself who are experts. And I want to say this. This is no knock against people who have to start in a certain place to grow their businesses, but you really do have to be careful. I think it's important when you're partnering with an organization, if you come across social jargon, which, by the way, we're going to give all the links, all the ways to get connected with Ashley on social media and her website, because it's socialjargon, JARGN.com, no O. And so we're going to have all those easy links. But I think it's important, when you get Ashley on the phone, people are almost too easily sold these days. Ask Ashley, how long you been in the business? Tell us about some of the projects, the 25 different organizations and niches that you've worked, or industries that you've worked in. Have you ever worked with somebody like me? And I would know your answer would be, oh yeah, we've worked with coaches and speakers and built masterminds and built events. Like, I would say, okay, 10 plus years experience, and you've worked with coaches and speakers and worked in masterminds. Yes, I could partner with somebody like Ashley. I just want, it's like a voice, a heed, a warning. Please, like, slow down and take your time. Because the reality is, especially like in the world of coaches and speakers, I'll tell people, go Google their name. Everybody wants to be a coach and a speaker. And there's plenty of speakers and coaches that we're coaching with who are in their first year in the business. I'm like, these people are so talented. In 4 or 5 years, they're going to be the biggest names in the industry. And it's a blessing to help coach them. But there's also individuals who get into it for the wrong reasons. And I'm saying, whether you hire an accountant, whether you hire an attorney, whether it's Ashley Smith, I mean, simply Google lawsuits. Has the person ever been in a lawsuit? I mean, it blows my mind, Ashley, that like there could be people that do what I do, and you Google their name in lawsuits and they've been sued 900 times. I'm like, why would you ever hire that person? Like, they've literally been sued 900 times for the reasons why you're going to hire the person. And so I think it's important that we do our due diligence and go find, no matter what you're doing in life. It could be your insurance professional. Do you really want somebody that's helping you with life insurance or helping you with investments to have been sued 18 times in the last 5 years for things related to investments and insurance? Probably not. And so Ashley, I love spending time with experts like you, who, you said it a couple times, you're a nerd for technology, but I love it because it shows that, like, this is what you do. This is your passion, and it's why you've been so successful. So, and any parting words that you have for your passion for what I'm sharing, to take your time and find the right people to partner with?
I think it's a matter of, once you are in the zone, your burn, find the people that are going to support you in the areas that aren't your favorite, that don't excite you, that can get you to your goals and your dreams, and that is working with other experts or specialists to do the tasks and the skills that you could do, you're completely capable of doing, but that's not really where your time is best spent. Because coaches, mentors, you guys are supposed to be changing people's lives, not necessarily reading up on the latest on what's going on with the internet.
Well, Ashley, I could go on and on with AI and just continuing to pick your brain, but I'm going to leave that for the opportunity for our listeners to reach out, to connect with you, to learn from you. But I so much appreciate the things that you're doing, how the level of ownership you take in your work. And one thing I want to mention is,
Thank you.
you made a choice to create that have to for your daughter. It's a beautiful family and 3 children. And so you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a business owner, and you're looking for ways to get better. I'm still looking for ways to get better. And I think that's the commitment that you can be successful in all areas. So I appreciate you coming on The Burn, and I appreciate you being a great example for all of us.
Thank you for having me.
To each and every single one of you, please share this episode. How many conversations do you know of people having, or you've recently had with somebody going, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with AI. I'm challenged with AI. We just covered the 30,000-foot view
Yeah.
of the importance of learning about AI and ways this could impact you. Make sure you dive into and don't miss the opportunity to learn about AI, how it's going to impact your business, how it's going to impact your life. Share this episode, subscribe, and make sure every single week you continue to join us for The Burn, where we highlight stories of individuals like Ashley, who show us that why and purpose is not enough. It's that underlying burn, her daughter, that ignites that why and purpose and causes us to show up on the days we don't feel like it, and especially after we win. Ashley, I appreciate you coming on The Burn. Every single one of our listeners, we love and appreciate you. Until next week, this has been The Burn.